I am occasionally envious of the lazier end of this profession when you could point out at times like this that it probably would be cheaper to put people up in Claridges than it would be at the moment to send them on mythical flights to Rwanda. But these events are, I think, probably rather more serious than that kind of behaviour allows. The Rwanda thing is bonkers. It is one of the maddest things I can remember reporting on, witnessing, reading about in all the time that I've been doing this job. And remember, I was doing this job throughout Brexit. I was doing this job throughout all the promises about what Brexit would bring to British people. And I was doing this job when Boris Johnson was Prime Minister. And I was doing this job when Liz Truss was Prime Minister. Yeah, I imagine some younger listeners find that impossible to believe. And I am currently doing this job while Rishi Sunak is Prime Minister, a man who has gone from self-styled hero to absolute zero in record-breaking time. So I have observed some truly, truly mad moments during the years that I have been doing this job. I don't think I was here for the Cones hotline, but I get quite nostalgic for the Cones hotline. Could you imagine living in a country where things were so placid and calm and stable that the Prime Minister thought to prioritise roadworks where no one appeared to be doing any work? This was what animated John Major during his premiership so much that he introduced a national scheme that would allow us to report roadworks where no one was doing any work. It was called the Cones Hotline. He was so animated by the sight of cones on motorways behind which no workers appeared to be toiling that he released a phone number that you could call and report. I don't know what happened, if anyone. Did anyone ever pick up the phone? Did anyone ever ring it? But imagine being Prime Minister of a country that was in such comparative calm waters that a Prime Minister could prioritise unattended roadworks on British highways. I get nostalgic for that. I don't think I was in the job back then. I can't have been, can I? But this one's bonkers. The Rwanda stuff is bonkers. Imagine it went brilliantly and did all the things it was designed to do and all the things it said on the tin. It would not even come close to touching the sides of the scale of the purported problem it is supposed to solve. It is so utterly detached from anything that remotely resembles reality that one wonders what the hell is going on in the minds of the people promoting it. And then you remember that they are politicians whose entire success now is built upon breaking things and promising to make life worse for other people. Now, I wish this wasn't true. I'm not a fan of simplistic analyses or even repetitive explanations. I mean, the reason I love my job so much is because we can explore so much territory together and we can veer off in unexpected directions and discover unexpected answers to well-established questions. And the idea that almost every act and tickle of the current administration can be described and explained and indeed understood under that simple and simplistic analysis is actually, it's bad for business, you know. What are we going to do? Everything can be explained by understanding that certainly since Johnson got into Downing Street and possibly since Theresa May did, everything they've done has been defined by two things. Will it make life worse for, quotes, other people, end quotes, and will it allow us to break something upon a completely bogus promise that will improve people's lives? Go on, think of anything. Think of a policy. And I'll show you how it either involves breaking something with a promise to improve people's lives or promising to make life worse for other people, but not you. Problem being, of course, it probably will end up being you. There is a particularly ridiculous, and I know better than anyone how fierce the competition is for this title, but a genuine contender for the stupidest person on the Daily Telegraph comment pages. And remember, these are comment pages that contain Nick Timothy and David Frost regularly goes there, the bloke that negotiated the oven-ready Brexit deal and then tried to disown it before the ink was even dry. The Daily Telegraph comment pages regularly promote people who's... Alistair Heath, who edits the Sunday Telegraph, he's the guy that called Liz Truss's budget the best he'd ever seen, the best of his lifetime. Absolutely. And they're all still in their jobs. Is there another profession in the world where you could be so catastrophically and comedically awful without any comeback or any repercussion at all for your professional incompetence? I don't think there is. But there's one chap called Tim Stanley. You've probably not had the misfortune of encountering him, but he has started complaining already that he's got a friend. He has a friend who's in a blind panic because he's worried he won't be able to bring his partner into the country under James Cleverly's immigration plans. That's incredible. Daily Telegraph has done more cheerleading for quasi-racist immigration policies than, well, I'd like to say than any other newspaper in the country, but that would involve forgetting the Daily Mail. And while many of us wish we could forget the Daily Mail, it's probably, on a day like today, important not to. So Daily Telegraph columnist suddenly realises that they do actually exist, these people against whom these nasty policies are directed, and his friend is not going to be able to bring his partner to the country because they don't have a joint income of £38,700. It's almost as if somebody voted for the Leopards Eating Faces party without realising that the leopards then might come and eat his own face. Don't worry, he'll be on the BBC in 5 minutes offering his opinions on everything from the situation in the Middle East right through to, I don't know, the price of eggs. But there it is. I mean, who are these policies designed to please? The Rwanda policy is stone cold bonkers. Because even if it did the things that it isn't doing but they told you it would do, it wouldn't make the blindest bit of difference to anything. In fact, the closest you ever come to understanding the Rwanda policy is watching Suella Braverman have a sort of, one must choose one's words carefully at this moment because some people may be eating, having a sort of a fit of a spasm of ecstasy while imagining a plane full of refugees taking off and flying to a country where very recently refugees were shot dead for protesting about their food rations. That is the sort of image, the sort of dream, the sort of vision that inspires the former Home Secretary into a spasm of ecstasy. In fact, she dreams about not even the plane taking off, but the Daily Telegraph front page. So you live in a country now where a former Home Secretary, a doubly disgraced Home Secretary, can have a spasm of euphoria and dream of the day when her favourite newspaper carries a front page detailing the deportation of refugees to a country where refugees get shot, and then a columnist in the same newspaper can have a fit of the vapours when he discovers that actually these horrible policies, they're going to affect people that I know as well. Well, that's not cricket. That's not what we signed up for. These policies are supposed to make other people's lives worse, not the lives of people that we know, not our lives. So you name the policy, I'll show you exactly where it either promises to break something, whether it's membership of the European Union or subscription to the European Convention on Human Rights or whatever, membership of NATO. Some of them have started moaning and whining about now. They'll break stuff, or they will promise to make other people's lives worse.